In 2024, nearly 30 of the world's container shipping passed through waters surrounding the Arabian Peninsula. Now imagine a single missile or a drone no larger than a motorcycle turning one of those shipping lanes into a battlefield. That's exactly the scenario unfolding right now. A container ship struck near Dubai has raised a serious question for governments, insurers, and global trade networks. Are the world's most important shipping routes becoming the next front line of geopolitical warfare? Because what happened near Dubai may not be an isolated incident. It may be part of a much larger strategy. And once you understand that strategy, the implications become far bigger than one damaged ship. To understand the significance of this attack, we need to understand something about geography. The waters around the Persian Gulf, the Gulf of Oman, and the Red Sea form one of the most critical trade corridors on Earth. Every day, thousands of ships move through these routes carrying oil, natural gas, electronics, food supplies, and industrial materials. These sea lanes connect Asia, Europe, and the Middle East. Disrupt them even briefly, and the ripple effects can spread across the global economy within days. So when a commercial vessel is struck near Dubai, one of the region's largest logistics hubs, it isn't just a maritime accident. It's a signal. And the message appears to be this: global shipping is now part of the battlefield. Let's start with what actually happened. Reports indicate that a commercial container vessel operating near Dubai was struck during a period of rising maritime tensions across the region. Details remain limited, but the attack appears to follow a pattern that has become increasingly familiar in recent years. Instead of traditional naval warfare, fleets of warships engaging each other, these incidents often involve asymmetric attacks. Small drones, anti-ship missiles, explosive-laden boats, or sabotage operations conducted quietly and quickly. In many cases, these attacks occur far from major naval battles. A single strike, a brief disruption, then silence. But the impact is far larger than the attack itself. Because shipping companies don't just react to damage. They react to risk. And once the perception of risk rises, the entire system begins to shift. Insurance premiums spike. Routes change. Convoys form. Navies deploy. All because of one carefully timed strike. Now here's where things get interesting. From a purely military perspective, attacking cargo ships doesn't destroy an enemy's army. It doesn't capture territory. So why do it? The answer lies in economic pressure. Modern warfare isn't only fought on land or in the air. It's fought in supply chains. Think about this for a moment. A single container ship can carry more than 20,000 containers. Inside those containers might be automotive parts for European factories, electronics for Asian markets, machinery for construction projects, or energy equipment for industrial systems. Delay that ship, and dozens of industries feel the impact. Now scale that disruption across multiple attacks. Suddenly the strategy becomes clear. You don't need to destroy fleets. You only need to create uncertainty. Because uncertainty forces companies to slow down trade. And slowing down trade raises economic costs for everyone involved. To understand the tactical side, consider how modern asymmetric maritime attacks typically work. First, surveillance. Small reconnaissance drones or coastal radar systems track shipping traffic through narrow sea corridors. Second, target selection. Attackers don't necessarily choose military vessels. Instead, they often target large commercial ships with predictable routes and slower maneuverability. Third, the strike. This could involve a low-cost drone carrying explosives, a coastal anti-ship missile launched from hidden positions, or remotely operated explosive boats. Many of these weapons cost tens of thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, the ships they target may be worth hundreds of millions. And that imbalance is exactly the point. The goal isn't to win a naval battle. The goal is to make shipping increasingly dangerous and increasingly expensive. Now the math becomes uncomfortable. Global maritime trade moves around 80 to 90% of the world's goods. And a huge portion of that trade passes through choke points in the Middle East. One of the most critical is the Strait of Hormuz. Every day, roughly 20 million barrels of oil travel through that narrow waterway. That's about 1/5 of global oil consumption. Nearby shipping routes also connect to the Suez Canal, which carries about 12% of global trade. So when attacks occur near these routes, the consequences ripple across multiple industries. Insurance companies are often the first to react. War risk premiums can increase dramatically overnight. In some past crises, insurance costs for ships entering high-risk zones jumped by 500% or more. For large shipping companies, that translates into millions of dollars in additional costs for a single voyage. Those costs eventually show up somewhere else. Higher energy prices, more expensive consumer goods, slower supply chains. But shipping lanes are not unprotected. Major powers have strong incentives to keep them open. The United States, European navies, and regional allies maintain a significant presence in these waters. Warships patrol the area. Air surveillance monitors maritime traffic. Escort missions sometimes accompany vulnerable vessels. But here's the challenge. Commercial shipping is enormous. At any given moment, there may be thousands of ships moving through the region. No navy can escort them all. And asymmetric attacks exploit exactly that gap. Instead of confronting warships directly, attackers strike at isolated targets. A tanker here, a container ship there, each incident small on its own. But together they gradually increase pressure on the entire system. But this is where the story changes. Because the real battlefield may not be the sea itself. It may be the global economy. Energy markets react instantly to maritime disruptions. Even rumors of instability near key shipping routes can move oil prices within hours. Shipping companies may reroute vessels to avoid danger zones. Those detours can add thousands of miles to a journey. More distance means more fuel. More fuel means higher costs. And higher costs eventually reach consumers. In other words, a single attack at sea can quietly influence prices at gas stations and supermarkets around the world. Zoom out further, and a broader pattern begins to emerge. Across the Middle East, multiple maritime incidents in recent years have targeted commercial shipping. Some involve drones. Others involve missile strikes. Still others involve mysterious explosions or sabotage. Individually, each event appears limited. But collectively, they form a pattern of strategic pressure on maritime trade routes. For countries that rely heavily on global shipping networks, that pressure creates difficult choices. Do they increase military deployments? Do they form international naval coalitions? Or do they attempt diplomatic solutions to reduce tensions? Every option carries risks. Military escalation could widen conflicts, but ignoring attacks could encourage more of them. The location of this recent incident is also significant. Dubai is not just another port city. It's one of the largest logistics and trade hubs in the Middle East. Its ports handle millions of containers every year and connect trade routes between Asia, Africa, and Europe. So an attack near Dubai sends a message far beyond the region. It signals that even the most heavily trafficked commercial hubs are not immune from geopolitical tensions. And that message travels quickly through the shipping industry. Looking ahead, the strategic implications could be profound. If maritime attacks continue, several trends are likely to accelerate. First, militarization of trade routes. Naval patrols and multinational escort missions may become more common. Second, higher shipping costs. Insurance premiums and security measures will raise the price of moving goods across oceans. Third, changes in global supply chains. Companies may diversify routes, build larger inventories, or shift production closer to consumer markets. In other words, the structure of global trade itself could slowly evolve in response to maritime insecurity. Key strike near Dubai may appear to be just another incident in a region long familiar with geopolitical tension. But when you examine the strategy behind it, the picture becomes clearer. This isn't simply about damaging a ship. It's about targeting the arteries of global commerce. Because in the modern world, controlling trade routes can be just as powerful as controlling territory. And the struggle over those routes is becoming increasingly visible.